Introduce yourself and try to be precise.
Thank you so much. I have known Dr. Baji. I will start with him. I've known him for over 40 years from my undergraduate days. And I know whoever hires his services has good intentions. That is my conviction. We believe our governors today have the capacity to govern as well. And I want to say to international business community that for the first time, Nigeria has had a continued democracy up to almost 20 years now. And the most important transition has taken place, that is from a ruling party to an opposition party. This shows a remarkable stability. The point I want to make and request, having mentioned that there is a charter already to be signed, is to request the governors, particularly the deputy governor of the governor of Kano State, who is the chairman and the deputy chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, that when this charter comes to be signed, they should take steps to make sure that every state, every member state, domesticates it by enacting a law, so that whatever changes come to take place, nobody will turn his back against those processes. I think. Thank you so very much. I can see the hand of the chairman. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. It's already taken, but I'm sure the governors would like to speak to that. Can we move to, there is the last person standing on that. No, please. Yes, the last person. Can you introduce your name, please?
Your Excellency, I'm Comrade Issa Aremu, and I'm from Textile Workers Union. Let me also add my voice to congratulate the Kaduna State government for the successful conclusion, as it were, of the second edition of Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit. Dr. Bugaje, I think you've touched on the question I really want to ask. And my question deals with the efforts that have been made by our excellencies in improving on the cotton value chains. I watched the very good tape that has been shown to us, the documentary on 100 years of our city. But that tape will not be complete without recognizing that Kaduna is a textile city. There was once the northwest region of Samfara Textile Mill, Arewa Textile Mill, Kaduna Textile Mill, UNTL. In fact, at a point in Kaduna, we had direct jobs of 25,000. Samfara Textile Mill, when it was in operation, was employed 3,500 workers. Of course, Kano, the entire Bompai industrial estate, we have textile industries. Now, my question is this, sir. What are we doing to revive these industries? And I'm happy we also have our Honorable Minister of State and Investment that is here, Adia Haisha Abubakar, who has been doing a very good job within the context of cutting textile garment policy. President Buhari just launched the new growth path, and there is a whole session on industrial cluster. So, sir, it would be nice to benefit from your presence, Your Excellencies, so that by this time next year, when we are here, we can say some textile factories have reopened. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me apologize. If we had time, we could, but we can't. We have been given a very tight time schedule, but I do hope those of you who might have questions or comments will find your way while the governors are still here to talk to them. But I can't allow anybody. I have to apologize. Can I request this time, Your Excellencies, with your permission, can I start from the other end so we can come back here to end up? So please, but take not more than 2 minutes. If you can read in 1 minute, that will help.
Thank you very much. I will start with the last statement, and I think I will restrict myself to just talking about that. Even that failure in that sector, I believe also came around because of the systemic failure of the regional system. You can't talk about textiles in isolation of the cotton farms that stretch all the way from Funtua down to Guri, Gwaram in Jigawa State. If you revive these textiles today, without taking into cognizance your feedstock, which would involve, luckily enough, most of the states in this region, then you'll have to import your cotton. And by so doing, you'll probably make it uncompetitive. So it still drives home the point that if we put our heads together, if we start talking from a regional perspective, like I said, I can grow the cotton. I may not have the best advantage of citing a textile mill in Jigawa because they are already here. The buildings are there, some of the infrastructure might need to be rehabilitated, but they are here. All we need to do is now talk about, okay, if you give me a guaranteed market for my cotton, I can start a cotton program in collaboration with Kaduna, Kano, all the way to Gusau. So it still borders on the fact that we cannot talk about these things in isolation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will comment on just two issues. The question by Comrade Issa Aremu about textiles. The Kaduna used to be referred to as the Manchester of Nigeria because we had the largest concentration of textile mills. And to correct you, Issa, at a point, the textile mills in Kaduna had 33,000 people working in the textile industry. It was more than 25,000. At the peak in the early 80s, it was 33,000. And since we came into office, we've been working with the federal government to put in a structure of incentives to be able to revive the textiles. But it's something that we have to work together, not only regionally as state governors, but also need the cooperation and support of the federal government. And as pointed out by the governor, the deputy governor of Jigawa State, we have to look at the entire value chain, because if we revive textiles without cotton production, there will be a problem. So what we have decided at the Northern State Governors Forum is to focus on reviving Kaduna Textiles Limited, which is owned by the 19 northern states, as a proof of concept. And our idea is not to begin textile production in KTL, but to rip out the machines and establish an assembly line for garmenting. So we want to start at the end of the value chain. Cotton textiles, garmenting, we want to start with garmenting, convert Kaduna Textiles Limited into a garmenting plant that will be producing uniforms for the Nigerian Armed Forces and the paramilitary forces. This is 1.5 million people that wear uniforms and require these uniforms. We've already approached the Ministers of Defense and the Ministers of Interior, and they have given us very firm indications that, subject to getting qualified technical partners and showing capacity to do this, they would contract out the entire production of uniforms of the military and paramilitary institutions to Kaduna Textiles. So this is going on. We've got partners from Turkey. A delegation led by one of the Northwest governors has already gone to Turkey to conclude and advance the arrangements. So we are starting from there, using imported fabrics. As soon as we create the demand, and our hope is that Kaduna or the Northwest Zone will be a cluster for garmenting, we can then go back and look at textiles and cotton production. Our cotton, we are told, is short fiber, is not good enough. We are working with the Islamic Development Bank. Again, a team of the Northern State Governors Forum went to Jeddah and discussed with the Islamic Development Bank to come and work with our state governments to revive cotton production using long fiber, as they have done in Burkina Faso and Mali. That is going on. Again, this is an initiative of the Northern State Governors Forum. So we are working on it, but I want to say that this is a long-term project. It will take some time. It requires cooperation of the federal government. For instance, power is one of the issues that kill the textiles in Kaduna. We have to resolve power. That is out of our hands. It's mostly in the hands of the federal government. We are doing the best we can, but we need the federal government to have the appropriate incentives and ensure that we have that. Here in Kaduna, we think the power issue will be resolved very soon, because we have Kujenda 215 megawatts and Gurara 30 megawatts coming in before the end of this year. Then water is another problem. Then taking very, very active steps against dumping from China. Unless we can address these three issues, and these are largely issues that only governments can address, I do not think it will make any sense to even try to revive textiles production. But this is what we are thinking of, and this is what we are working on, and I hope we'll be able to report progress when we come back here next year. The Honorable Commissioner from Zamfara raised the issue of ensuring